I don't think in my lifetime I have ever seen the total destruction of an American city. And as small as it may be, Lahaina is an American city. Now, many of you know that I have a strong connection with Hawaii. My mother did Polynesian dancing for 47 years. And my first trip to Hawaii, or our family's first trip, was in 1966 on board the Lurleen. That was a very famous ocean liner. There were a series of ocean liners then. And we did the five main islands. It was Maui, the Big Island, Hawaii, Oahu, Kauai. Maybe Molokai was on another trip. I know that the second time that I went, it was in 1970, and actually we were on board one of the first 747s that were built when it was only 4 months old. And the 747 basically had come out, I think it was like in the fall of 1969, and the airlines were purchasing them in the early 1970. And then the third trip was in 1972, and that's where I have all of the photographs of Mauna Ulu when it was a crater and it was erupting, and the platform that we had gone out to see it on. We were there for like 2 or 3 hours just watching all of that because the lava sounds like ocean waves, and we'll have pictures of that. I may have a previous clip here. I can put a clip up later. But what was interesting, too, is about several weeks after, we heard that the platform that we were actually standing on finally collapsed. And so they had to block off all of that area. Now Mauna Ulu is a whole mountain. And then in 1976, for the bicentennial, we spent that on Kauai, where they had the Marine Corps helicopters that drop orchids over the baseball field where they were having the whole party and everything. And I remember there were sand crabs, and then there was I had to put it, Tanaka and his Olympia beer. And he was a distributor for Olympia, a lot of the little stores, and there was the whole experience. And he loved to get drunk and tell all his fun stories about how they knocked over a barrel once of crabs, and they had all these crabs walking around. And they were Olive and Dale Anderson, he's a jazz musician, and she was an actress. They were friends of ours, and they knew the Tanakas. So I have all of that. And of course, at that time, too, there was the whole thing at that episode in Hawaii Five-0, that was a bicentennial one that we were guests because Jack Lord and his wife were members of our church. And I can talk about that later, another clip I may have. Then my mother got involved. She was with the Otea Ensemble, and they were, in 1982, the top Polynesian dancing group in the United States. And I actually didn't have her trophy here. And then after my mother passed away in early 1993, so it was I hadn't been to Hawaii since 76, so in 1993, we went over. She was cremated, and we took her ashes over, and there was a delightful little hotel by a cove that was on Kona. It's called the Kona Tiki, and we used to love to go to that hotel all the time, so we took her ashes there and put them out to sea. And then the other hotel that's in Hilo, the one that we like, is the Dolphin Bay Motor Inn, the Dolphin Bay Hotel. I'm sure if you look it up online, you'll see it there. They have a beautiful garden in the back of that hotel where you can walk. It's a lovely place. But that's the Kona Tiki. Now, I think somebody, when I was at Universal Studios, told me that they have built another building at the Kona Tiki, but the way we remember the Kona, or the way I should remember the Kona Tiki, is in the late 60s, early 70s. And they actually would have the coconuts, and they would fall, and they'd crack them open for you, and you get the coconut milk and all of that. So I have a massive, connection. Now, I don't have any visual images. I remember walking under the banyan tree in Maui, and I think that would probably be maybe I would say about maybe the 1970 trip or the 1972 trip, because there were two trips. There was a 1970 and then 72. And I remember we spent Christmas in the Moana Hotel that time. And but anyway, I remember the band. So I don't know. It's one of those two trips that my memories of Lahaina and the banyan tree. And you can see a lot of that. The banyan tree has survived. It's been damaged. It's been scorched. But anyway, as I said, I've just never seen the total destruction of a city the way, maybe Paradise, California, these brush fires. It looks like it's probably going to turn out that they just weren't doing the proper brush clearance. And of course, all trees look very pretty and all that. And you have a bad wind, it comes up, hurricane or not, wipes everything out. So, and of course, they'll probably resort to, well, it's all climate change, and it may or may not be. But anyway, they're going to have to really do some thinking about that, because even at that press conference, they were talking that came up about the brush clearance and there's a lot of dry hills and stuff. So anyway, but I have never seen the total destruction of an American city in my lifetime. There's been a lot of damage from hurricanes and other disasters, but not the total destruction. Even San Francisco in 1906, I mean, there were buildings and such that stood. Well, this thing is just, excuse me, it's just totally wiped them out. So anyway, like I said, I have never seen that kind of destruction. And so with that, we'll see you in the next clip.